Now that Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is out in theaters around the world, a lot of fans have been very curious and very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 is that we do know that this film by director J.J. Abrams was a film to create a foundation of new Star Wars lore, essentially, to allow Disney to create a new Star Wars universe. Now, in case you guys did not know, in the very beginning of 2020, next year, which is just hours away at this point, is when the new Star Wars universe is going to begin. This is, of course, going to be in the form of live-action TV series, new movies, new comics, books, novels, video games. I mean, the list goes on, to the point where it's going to be the new expanded universe and be modeled after the MCU and how that was actually used for Marvel by Disney. Now, on top of all of this, we do know one thing is that they are primarily focused on multiple projects past The Rise of Skywalker, and due to the success of The Rise of Skywalker so far, it stands at $700+ million at the box office worldwide. It's approaching $1 billion, and it seems likely that it will hit $1 billion after, next week, give or take. Now, the thing about the fourth trilogy, one thing that a lot of fans are very interested about is, of course, exactly where it's all going to go. And we're going to get an official announcement on sometime in January, mid-January, about who the director is going to be by Kathleen Kennedy. Now, with that being said, it's explained that both Disney and Lucasfilm are currently focused on their Disney Plus streaming service for future live-action TV series and are planning a series of TV shows to be released throughout the 2020s. It's explained that also they are primarily focused on the set of 3 new Star Wars films that are said to consist of a new trilogy that will bring fans into a brand new Star Wars mythology. It said that they are currently looking into bringing in Jon Favreau as a co-writer for the first film of the new set of 3 Star Wars films, and that Kevin Feige is in the talks with Kathleen Kennedy on producing the new movie. Kathleen Kennedy will no longer be involved with the Star Wars films on a creative level and won't have a say in the matter of how the film should be handled as far as story-wise goes. Now, apart from all of this, however, she will be a part of the planning process leading up to when her contract is up in 2021. If she decides to stay, remains a mystery. However, regardless, it's explained that even if she does stay, she won't be involved with the actual storytelling of the movie. Kevin Feige is said to be the one in negotiations with Keanu Reeves, since he met up with Keanu before Marvel, and of course when Marvel movies were being made that he turned down, and that getting Reeves on board is moving forward. Additionally, they are looking to film in multiple locations around the globe, such as Hawaii, Scotland, and Alaska, to create large-scale scenes for the movie and the upcoming first film of the new mythology. The plan by Disney and Lucasfilm is to create characters that will be as big and popular as Luke Skywalker and others, and that George Lucas is going to help with making this happen to propel Disney in the right direction, to create a new Star Wars universe where Disney and Lucasfilm will be using George Lucas as an advisor for the new films, and that George will have a say in the matter of how the structure of the film and the first film's script should actually be done and how it actually should be done in the right direction. Now, additionally, it's noted that they plan to make connections to the Skywalker saga with the upcoming movie in a unique and unexpected way for the fans that will contain references to either the past or the future, depending on when or where they will set the first film of the new trilogy, which will be finalized this January. The development of the film, dubbed as Star Wars X, will also focus on brand new Star Wars lore that will also take inspiration from Star Wars Legends. One inspiration, of course, has all to do with the books and the novels, etc. Now, on top of all this, Disney and Lucasfilm are also in negotiations of including Dave Filoni to have a role in the film's development in some way, due to his experience handling Star Wars lore on the Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, and that Disney are looking into having multiple writers for the first film in the new trilogy. The first film is explained to be a tough project for Lucasfilm, as it is shifting away from the Skywalker bloodline, where they need to create brand new characters for the Star Wars universe overall to tell a new story. So let's go over a couple of parts about this. Now, the thing about the fourth trilogy, a lot of fans are very, puzzled over this, because either a lot of fans are just fed up with how, Disney has handled Star Wars, or there's a lot of fans that are very excited about the future. There's still a lot of people out there that are not happy with The Rise of Skywalker, and that's perfectly fine. I myself thought it was a okay movie. It had a lot of flaws. It had some good scenes and some very terrible scenes, in my opinion. But the movie overall, it's entertaining and it's decent in my book. So moving on forward, I think that when we look at these new movies, the fact that they are trying to shift away from Kathleen Kennedy being involved in it on a creative scale is the first big step by Disney to really doing something, I guess you could say, a little bit more productive at this point, because I think Kathleen Kennedy was dead weight to the Star Wars universe. She was kind of like just pulling it down, and she wasn't making the right decisions. She was choosing, specific creatives that weren't really right for their projects, who kept either backing out or got fired or quit, whatever have you. And it wasn't just that, it's also because she was involved with a lot of the creative decisions for the past, 5 Star Wars films that Disney created. So, with that being said, the fact that they're moving away from Kathleen Kennedy and she's not going to be involved with the creative, sense of Star Wars, I think is a big plus. The other exciting thing is that Jon Favreau, they are looking at him to become a co-writer of the new Star Wars film, depending on how busy he will be with future seasons of Star Wars The Mandalorian, so looking forward to that. But also Dave Filoni and Kevin Feige, how they want Kevin Feige on board as a producer, and Kevin Feige is the one responsible for really talking with Keanu Reeves and trying to get him in on Star Wars. It's one of the main reasons as to why Keanu Reeves has been offered, a role for the new Star Wars film is because of Kevin Feige. And I think that all has to do with the shift by Lucasfilm and Disney, is that they're trying to really get a lot of creatives on board that are actually very successful. Kevin Feige is a very successful producer with Marvel. He did a fantastic job for many years on end, and it seems like he wants to do that with Star Wars and bring his ideas to the table and exactly how things can really be done. Now, obviously, a director will be announced this month, or next month, I should say. We're just a day away from January, but in January, we will get a director announcement by Lucasfilm and Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, of who's going to be involved with the new Star Wars film, dubbed as Star Wars X. And I couldn't be more excited, because you guys may recall that we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, is that they're only looking to hire experienced writers and directors for these new Star Wars movies. They don't want somebody who's inexperienced. They don't want somebody who's a newcomer. They want somebody who is very well experienced and known for the future of the franchise to bring it into a different direction. And the thing that really intrigues me as well is, of course, they are looking at multiple countries and states within the US of filming these new movies, including Hawaii, Alaska, and even over in Europe. Alright, they're looking at Greece, Germany, and now even they're looking at others, such as Scotland, to create large-scale scenes for this new Star Wars movie. And we've gone over before in the past that this new Star Wars film will be modeled after Lord of the Rings, as far as how big it's going to be and how, creative it's going to be, and how it's going to have so many different characters here and there. You can only imagine what they're going to do with these new Star Wars films and exactly where it's all going to go into the future. The last thing I just want to touch on here real quick is that I'm very intrigued about where Disney and Lucasfilm are going to go with these new films, because obviously we're shifting away from John Williams. They're looking for somebody else. In fact, they have been in the talks with Hans Zimmer to come in and to offer, the fans a different type of Star Wars feel with his music. So they're in talks with him as we speak, and other composers, to really give fans different types of Star Wars music, but at the same exact time staying true to how it sounds with John Williams. I think that Hans Zimmer is great. I think he's fantastic, and whether or not he decides to take the role as a composer, I think that's going to be a big decision on his part, because these new Star Wars films, they need to be done in a specific way. Obviously, if they're, trying to go for a specific mythology or a specific, set of rules for the new Star Wars films and how it should all really be done. So, with that being said, guys, I would really like to hear what each and every one of you have to say about the new Star Wars films, also known as Star Wars X, the first film of this new trilogy. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon we hear them moans again.